Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Flame Emperor episode number 382 based on novel. So let's start. Xiao Yan. Looking at the two figures approaching, President Su couldn't help but have a hint of doubt on his face. He looked at Xu Xiao in the black robe in front of him. It seemed that the two had just met. An extraordinarily strong smell of gunpowder came to pave the way. That kind of breath seems to contain the revenge of killing the father. The aura on your body still seems to be so disgusting. At this moment, the black-robed Xu Xiao slowly got up and said in a playful tone, obviously seeing Xiao Yang's true identity at first sight. The aura on your body is still as weak as ever, but I'm a little surprised that the minions of your soul palace can actually extend here. It's really bold. Xiao Yang said coldly, and his voice was also full of chills. Meaning, Xu Xiao is a person from the Soul Palace. He is born with the sinister aura of the Soul Palace. Even if Xiao Yang doesn't feel it, he can smell it from a distance of 108,000 miles. The breath is also quite familiar. After all, Xiao Yang was often on the most wanted list of their Soul Palace. What happened to the Star Continent? Are you the one who did it? His eyes froze. Xu Xiao stood up immediately, and an invisible oppression permeated. The Star Continent cost them a Hall Master, but it was a huge loss. It's really a pity. Hall Master Huang Hall of Soul Palace. Xiao Yang didn't respond, but opened his mouth, but the meaning in his voice was too obvious. It doesn't matter, shrimps like you will turn into dust when you turn your hands, but I have to thank you, otherwise, I will not be able to take the position of the head of the Yellow Hall. See you in 3 days, then I'll make you unable to survive or die. Those things on your body will stay by your side for a while longer. Leaving a gloomy and ruthless remark, Xu Xiao's figure also left here like a ghost. After the blink of an eye, the anger in the lobby eased a little. Master Xiao Yang knows this guy? At this time, the Wolf General asked suspiciously. It's an old rival, because the two of us are a feud. Xiao Yang shook his head and said, as for what Xiao Yang and the two talked about just now, although President Su and Lang Jiang were suspicious, they did not know about the Star Continent and the Soul Palace. These words were kept in the dark for a while, and they were confused for a while, but now it is naturally easy to be put off by Xiao Yang. This Xu Xiao seems to be a little scary. The strength of the 8-star Dozian in the early stage may be able to walk sideways on the entire Doyun continent. It seems that after the demon world is dealt with, we must go to find Zuna as soon as possible, otherwise Zuna will it's dangerous. Xiao Yang secretly made up his mind to pay attention, and immediately muttered. He, Lord Yaoshui Xiao Yang is really talented and intelligent, and seeing it is better than seeing it. After a while, President Su's piercing eyes flashed with a gleam of light, and he immediately looked at Xiao Yang, not knowing why, when looking at Xiao Yang, a more terrifying aura than Xu Xiao filled out. It's just a fluke. Xiao Yang naturally knew what this guy meant, and immediately said modestly, President Su, take out the evil crystal demon block that Xu Xiao needs. I also need this thing. Xiao Yang opened his mouth. Obviously something that could be targeted by Xu Xiao was not an easy thing. Hey, Master Yaoshui, please allow me to sell it. This thing is quite expensive, and only the head of the Yaoshui can call it. So please forgive me. President Su said apologetically. Where is President Su? But what if I need something else? Xiao Yang did not pretend to be tough and continued to ask, but changed the subject. I don't know what your lord needs. Seeing Xiao Yang being so easy to talk for a while, President Su also laughed, otherwise the tyrannical attitude like Xu Xiao's would make it difficult for him to do it. As a fire attribute, I want to borrow the fire attribute fighting skills in the auction house, but I don't know if it's feasible. With the mentality of not slaughtering white, Xiao Yang's voice became deeper. What level of fighting skills do you need? President Su asked with a frown. At the peak of the holy rank, of course it is better to have immortal techniques. When Xiao Yang heard the words, the corners of his mouth laughed. Is it the peak of the holy rank of the fire attribute? Sir, wait a moment. President Su muttered a few words, and his body slowly retreated, obviously going to search for fighting skills. The background of the 10,000 demon nation, coupled with the support of the national treasury, still has a lot of fighting skills at the peak of the holy rank, and Xiao Yang is now expensive as the demon commander, so naturally he has the qualifications to call and consult. Sir, I have something to remind you. No one was around. The Wolf General looked around repeatedly and whispered to Xiao Yang. But it doesn't matter. Xiao Yang said with some surprise. Obviously he couldn't see the thoughts of this Wolf General, and there was a hint of delicacy in the roughness. There is no right or wrong in the demon world. Everything depends on strength. If you win, Xu Xiao's life and death will naturally be determined by you, but if you know the consequences, the wolf will say slowly, I know, so they are all old rivals, and I will naturally handle them here. Xiao Yang smiled lightly, the cold killing intent in his voice was undoubtedly on display. A Xu Xiao at the early stage of the 8-star fighting immortals, Xiao Yang has not yet regarded him as a major enemy. Xiao Yang wants to arrest this guy, so as to force him to ask some news about the Soul Palace, and he is probably the new hall master of the Yellow Hall today. The information is more meticulous. In the initial stage of 8-star fighting immortals, Hall Master Huang Tang, whether in terms of strength or status, is extremely high in the Soul Palace, and after the end of the demon world, it will be the real highlight, the 100-year appointment and Zunna, so Xiao Yang must make plans early. My lord, this is what you need, the holy rank peak fighting skills, the raging fire lion. I wish you a successful victory. By the way, there is a word to remind Sir Xiao Yang that Xu Xiao took a space-based fighting skill of the peak of the holy rank from me, and the rest cannot be disclosed. After President Su finished speaking, on the palm of his hand, a beautiful the sheepskin scroll stands quietly out. The exquisite sheepskin scroll seems to contain a trace of terrifying temperature, fire attribute fighting skills, and fighting skills at the peak of the holy order. Thank you too again. Xiao Yang held the scroll in his palm with one hand, and immediately responded to the two with a smile. Let's go, there are still 3 days. 3 days, will this guy still write any legends? Wolf General and President Su looked at the passing figure of Xiao Yang and looked at each other. I don't know what's going on, I always feel that this guy doesn't seem to be so simple. Wait and see. President Su spoke slowly and smiled. At the same time, for 3 days, Xu Xiao also stayed behind closed doors. He seemed to be studying the space-based fighting skills. As for Xiao Yang, he also stayed behind closed doors. With Holy Flame and his familiarity with fire attributes, he used the fighting skills. Cultivating it will make its strength more solid. Of course, a real battle will sound slowly. It's just that the battle situation is now anxious, and the 10,000 Demon King is slowly disappearing. It seems that he is going to track down something, and the thing he is tracking is actually related to the foreign evil race and the demon suppression prison in the ancient battlefield. The next day, 3 days later, the battle came slowly. Hey! The battle between Yaoshuai Xu Xiao at the early stage of the 8-star fighting immortal stage and Yaoshuai Xiao Yang at the early stage of the 7-star fighting immortal stage is really exciting. At this time, countless monsters were surrounding the battlefield. Their eyes are extremely hot, and they are obviously looking forward to the battle between the two. Xu Xiao, who had already arrived at this time, stood slightly in a dark area, looking around indifferently. On the other hand, the other horned demon elders and the wolf generals also arrived slowly. Why hasn't Master Xiao Yang arrived yet? After a glance, the wolf general asked worriedly. Could it be that the practice of fighting skills wasted time? But this level of battle, even I can't delay it. At this time, the old horned demon looked at Xu Xiao beside him and couldn't help muttering. Old horned demon, is it time to announce the start? After the blink of an eye, Xu Xiao faced Sen Rant's indifferent voice, and there was a contempt in his voice. Although the strength of the horned demon is not strong, but his intelligence is quite high among the monsters, so he can be regarded as an elder in the country of 10,000 monsters. It's almost time, don't worry. The horned demon said coldly. After a while, there was still no movement. It's time to start. Xu Xiao said viciously just after the time arrived. I announce. The horned old man also frowned and opened his mouth slightly. Sorry, I'm a step late, aren't you late? Just as the horned old man's voice sounded, the surrounding void trembled, and a faint spatial vortex filled out, and Xiao Yang's figure spread out. Master Xiao Yang. In an instant, with Xiao Yang's appearance, the atmosphere of the entire martial arts field became restless. This guy's aura seems to be a lot more tyrannical than it was 3 days ago. In the dark, Tianhu Yaoshuai slowly took a step forward, looked at Xiao Yang in front of him, and muttered. After he really fought against Xiao Yang, he knew the heart-pounding terrifying power hidden in Xiao Yang's body. Since it's here, let's start. The old man with horns said in awe, and the battle between the two slowly opened. With a sound, Xiao Yang and Xu Xiao disappeared into the mountain range at the same time. The battle mountain range this time is very different from the past, because this time it is actually an active and surging volcanic area. The terrifying temperature and the volcano that can erupt at any time can be said to have contributed to Xiao Yang's power. I didn't expect you to come to die in such a hurry. If that's the case, Then I will accept all the things on your body rudely. Xu Xiao said coldly just after entering the volcanic mountain range, with a slight smile on the corner of his mouth, like a cold the murderous demon. That kind of breath can't help but make one's heart chill. Your soul palace is really interesting. The person who said this before has been completely destroyed in my hands. If you want to take away these things from me, you don't have the ability to take pictures of you. Xiao Yang smiled lightly, and his smile was full of calmness. In that case, empty hands. Seeing Xiao Yang's unrestrained smile, Xu Xiao snorted coldly, striding out into the void under the black robe, and immediately turned into a gloomy silver light all over his body, shooting away with Xiao Yang. With Xu Xiao's terrifying attack, the void above the entire volcanic mountain range exploded slightly, and even a trace of cracks brewed out from the void that his body crossed. The beast blasted away at Xiao Yang. Dragon God transformation. Seeing Xu Xiao's terrifying attack, Xiao Yang snorted coldly, dragon scales covered his arm, and immediately driven by Xiao Yang, the tortoise-shaped pattern of tyrants burst out brightly. Ancient Xeon power. Suffer to death. In an instant, Xu Xiao's attack came to Xiao Yang's body, his palm was gently raised, and a silver space-destroying force swept over. Come on. Seeing this, Xiao Yang raised the corners of his mouth, his eyes became sharp, and the dim light on his arm shone brightly. After a while, he collapsed forward, with a dazzling power on his arm, and blasted directly at Xu Xiao. A deafening cracking sound continued to sound, and then a space crack, centered on the two, spread out thousands of meters behind them like a spider web. At the same time, the volcano below was also full of with an extreme depression. It seems that it will erupt completely at any time. Even because the two used such tyrannical means, countless spaces in the entire volcanic mountain range exploded directly, and a trace of extremely nervous anger was vented. Boom! The shadowy figure and the silver figure seemed to have no idea what was going on in the volcanic mountain range at this time. One after another, fierce collisions continued to unfold. For a while, the close hand-to-hand combat between the two was actually indistinguishable. These two guys. Outside the arena, Tianhu Yaoshuai couldn't help muttering when he saw Xiao Yang's ruthless shots and Xu Xiao's extremely tricky shots. Because in the volcanic mountain range at this time, the two figures moved rapidly. Every time they moved, the space or mountain range was a mess. Countless trees and rocks were affected by the aftermath of the battle, and they turned into powder and disappeared. It turned out to be evenly matched. What a terrifying guy. The old horned demon looked at Xiao Yang's figure, and the horror in his heart could not stop for a long time. In the early stage of the 7-star fighting immortals, it is possible to fight head-on with the powerhouses in the early stage of the 8-star fighting immortals. This kind of courage can be said to be respectable. Boy, it seems that you do have some background. Right above the volcanic cliff, the two figures slowly separated, and the power of silver space flickered around Xu Xiao. He squinted at Xiao Yang in front of him with black eyes, and said with a smile, he could not think Xiao Yang's initial strength of Qixing Dozian was vaguely comparable to his own. It was no wonder that many of the powerhouses sent by the Soul Palace were submerged in this guy's hands. The new Hall Master Huang Tang. Xiao Yang didn't care about it. The blood in the body instantly became boiling, and it was extremely difficult to fight against the powerhouses in the early stage of the 7-star Dozian with the strength of the early stage of the 7-star Dozian. But it also made all the accumulated power in Xiao Yang's body to become blood-boiling. In this way, regardless of success or failure in this battle, Xiao Yang's sequelae due to the short-term increase in strength will be completely eliminated. After entering the ancient battlefield, maybe he can also be able to. There is an opportunity. Forget it, you are worthy of this Hall Master's full strength. Do your best. Just let you and see, what is the real Soul Palace superior. Get ready for death. At this time, Xu Xiao's black robe shook, and countless gloomy black qi spread out like ghost qi, thus wrapping the entire volcanic mountain range, rendering this place a true gloomy melting pot. The sight of everyone outside was also covered by this sudden scene. For a time, the volcanic mountain range was completely covered by Xu Xiao's domain, and a solemn aura of death slowly drifted into this gloomy furnace. Come on. Seeing Xu Xiao, who looked so terrifying, Xiao Yang also sneered. The entire volcanic mountain range was filled with countless gloomy ghosts because of Xu Xiao's domain, and the outside world could not see the situation inside at all. In this way, even if Xiao Yang used the power of Holy Flame, it was reasonable. This is the domain of this Hall Master, called the 1000-soul domain. Enjoy it. In an instant, Xu Xiao's black robe suddenly disappeared and turned into countless dark blue light groups, which completely permeated the entire domain. Among those dark blue energy light groups, there are all ghosts and grievances, and the mournful and eerie aura emitted from the invisible, rendering the entire field into a cold place filled with ghosts. Is it a lonely ghost again? As expected of a ghost hall. But, while speaking, the aura on Xiao Yang's body slowly changed, an amber flame slowly spread from Xiao Yang's body like a tattoo, and then gently covered Xiao Yang's body. Yang's breath was like a scorching sun, and many ghosts in the domain looked at Xiao Yang vigilantly. It really is the smell of holy flame. However, this amber holy flame seems to have never been recorded. What is going on? Xu Shao's eyes suddenly became hot, and there was a strange fluctuation in his cold eyes. Holy flame fire. After the blink of an eye, Xiao Yang's high-pitched voice sounded in the field. With the addition of Do Qi and the power of the holy flame, Xiao Yang's body could not stand the giant figure. Even following such a move, the soul clone that had been silent for a long time in Xiao's body also moved. Get off me. Thousand Soul Eater. Seeing Xiao Yang's appearance, Xu Shao sneered, his palm slowly raised, and a mass of extremely dark black energy suddenly projected towards Xiao Yang. Wang buzzing. At the same time, countless ghosts in the domain seemed to have been pulled, and they followed behind the black air mass and scurried away towards Xiao Yang. That kind of scene, as if locked by countless pairs of gloomy ghost eyes, a chill filled Xiao Yang's heart. Gloom. Xiao Yang smiled slowly at this, and his eyes immediately turned amber. The amber flames on his body were like ferocious monsters in a violent state, forming rows of amber walls to resist them. Boom. The gloomy black energy seemed to be the leader of countless ghosts. When it suddenly hit Xiao Yang's amber wall, a shrill rubbing sound filled the air. Boy, die. Seeing Xiao Yang taking so much time to resist his blow, Xu Shao's figure wriggled like a ghost. On his withered palm, a mass of silver space power slowly unfolded. The law of space, strangling. Without any pause, Xu Shao's palm suddenly lifted, and a dazzling silver space force directly shot out and slapped Xiao Yang, who was close at hand. With a sound, Xu Shao's attack directly hit Xiao Yang, but strangely it did not cause any damage. On the contrary, the skin and expression on Xiao Yang's body suddenly became strange. Just when Xu Shao was puzzled, Xiao Yang was surrounded by thunder and flames, like an eternal copper and iron giant. The ancient ruler above his arm exuded a strange luster. As for the countless ghosts, and the power of space slowly disappeared when it touched the body. Bang bang bang. After the breath, an unusually harsh explosion sounded in the distant domain. That is the power of his own space strangulation. But isn't its target Xiao Yang? How could the target be shifted? In the early stage of Xiao Yang's 7 stars fighting immortals, even if he is talented, it is absolutely impossible to change his goal of space power. A big gift for you. Ho 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 ho. Xu Shao stood hesitantly above the void, and he never understood what was going on. Suddenly, the void was squirming not far away, and Xiao Yang, who was exactly the same as Xiao Yang in front of him, appeared. It's just that a stream of amber-colored lava flowed out from Xiao Yang's body, and at his feet, there was a huge and fierce fire lion. The lion's eyes only locked on himself. That kind of feeling, as if he was locked, and he was the food at his fingertip. Even with the blessing of holy flame, the fighting power of this fire lion should definitely not be underestimated. Boom. The fire lion roared. It raised its front paws proudly. The countless amber faces flashed with unusually sacred and terrifying power, and immediately waved towards Xu Shao. With a sound, a beam of amber light beams stretched out from the front paws of the fire lion like a ray of dawn, directly piercing the void and whistling away. Small worm carving trick. Xu Shao sneered, and suddenly the ghosts in the realm surged rapidly, forming a thick soul wall directly in front of him. Crash. When the amber beam hit the wall of souls, a ferocious cry was released. Obviously, in the face of the attack based on the fire of holy flame, these ghosts attacked and shattered in an instant. Xu Shao, you are extremely sinful, and you should subdue the law. And following Xiao Yang's attack, an unusually cold voice filled the air. That was the voice of the horned old man and others. Is it still discovered? Xu Shao shook his head slightly, although he did it very secretly, but he left a lot of evidence in his mansion. Xu Shao, accept the sanctions. Xiao Yang looked at Xu Shao and spoke slowly, with amber holy flames shining all over his body, fire lions and tigers staring at him, and the earth-shattering fighting intent was vented. It's really tricky, but try this. Space prism, lock it for me. Seeing Xiao Yang's ferocious means, Xu Shao finally had nothing to hide. The initial strength of the 8-star Dozian was revealed, and he immediately became crazy with an overwhelming momentum. Not good. Xiao Yang was shocked, looking at the fleeting silver beam, his figures retreated one after another. Seeing this, the fire lion felt that Xiao Yang was in danger, and the amber flames all over his body became restless. Xiao Yang used the fire lion to control the fire lion, but he forgot about Shu Shao's attack. He was lightly hit by it, his body shrank violently like an electric shock, and he immediately froze in the field. Get away from me. On the other side, Xiao Lei, the sole avatar of the Thunder Fire Hell King, saw this. He instinctively waved the ancient ruler in his hand, attacking Shu Shao. Hateful. I'll spare your life this time. Next time this hall master must torture you to death. See you on the ancient battlefield. A gloomy voice sounded in the realm, and Shu Shao's figure shook abruptly, turning into a black mist, streaking into the void of the realm in front of him, and disappearing. This Xiao Yang was caught in his own space prism, and I am afraid that he will be trapped in a different dimension forever. This time, he still won. Crack. With a sound, Shu Shao just disappeared, and the old man with horns directly broke open the field and entered it from the outside world. Shu Shao colluded with the rebellion. The evidence is conclusive. What's going on? A few people had just broken through the domain and looked at the two Xiao Yang and countless ghosts slowly disappearing, deeply shocked. What the is going on here? The horned demon, the wolf general, and a few burly seniors walked in slowly, watching Xiao Yang, who was motionless in the slowly dissipating state, and Xiao, who was added by the Thunder and Fire Hell King. Ray couldn't help asking. I am his sole avatar. Find him a quiet training room. He has entered a special state and can only heal himself. Xiao Lei shook his head slightly, and then with a flash, he also returned to Xiao Yang's body. Although he is a sole avatar, only the main body can resist this kind of thing. If Xiao Yang can't resist, I am afraid that his existence will also die out with time. Sir, about Shu Shao. At this time, several other high-level executives couldn't help muttering. Now Xiao Yang is the leader of the newly promoted demon commander. I will send him back first and find a quiet training room for him. As for Shu Shao, he secretly communicated with the other two powerhouses and tried to harm the army of our 10,000 demon nation. The next time I see you, I will definitely cut him into tens of thousands of pieces. In addition, thoroughly investigate all the officials and generals in the army, and wait for the Demon King and Xiao Yang to wake up. It's time to enter the ancient battlefield. Orders emerged from the old horned demon's mouth in an orderly manner. Okay. Many monsters nodded. On the other side, everyone sent Xiao Yang to a quiet training room. After sending people to guard them, they were busy with their own affairs. The old horned demon didn't know Xiao Yang's current state, so he could only wait for the return of the Demon King. In the quiet training room, the scent of agarwood filled the secret room, but at this time Xiao Yang was standing there like a living dead, without any anger. Wang buzzing. At this time, Xiao Yang seemed to be in a coma, and seemed to have been deprived of something, and all of this was obviously the last moment of the previous battle with Shu Shao, when Shu Shao left. At the same time, Xiao Yang was given a rather strange blow, and the attack contained a touch of extremely strange power. That kind of attack was not fatal, but it made Xiao Yang's soul power enter a rather strange state, as if it had separated from himself and entered other places. It seems that Xiao Yang's soul and body are now separated by Shu Shao's attack. At this time, the body is still here, but the soul is imprisoned in a distant alien space. Where is this? What happened? Just now I was still fighting against Shu Shao in the demon world. How could it be? Xiao Yang's illusory soul body moved slowly, but the void was endless, and a trace of danger permeated, making Xiao Yang extremely uncomfortable. This place seemed to be a long corridor. Let Xiao Yang mutter how, after resting, the voice returned quickly. Other than that, nothing responded to Xiao Yang. No, we have to break open here. Suddenly, after hesitating for a moment, Xiao Yang, his soul body, seemed to have discovered something, and with a hurried sound, the soul power in his body suddenly surged. Xiao Yang also entered this extremely strange different dimensional space when he was devouring the devil fruit, but at that time he had someone else's guidance, but now, boom! With a sound, the invisible soul body exploded directly in the void, and immediately a broken feeling swept out of the entire void. After a while, the dark void suddenly changed slightly, and the void in the darkness slowly turned into a prismatic mirror with different shapes. The mirror is white and flawless. It seems to be ordinary, but it is this extremely flat atmosphere that makes Xiao Yang feel a chill in his heart. If he can't find a way to solve it, I am afraid that Xiao Yang will be imprisoned here forever. This is... Xiao Yang was unmoved, but his body lightly turned towards the prism in front of him, as if he had found clues. Brother Xiao Yang, Zuna lived a hard life in the ancient clan. I can't hold on anymore. In the prism, a woman who is enough to make all things pale, she now stands on a mountain peak of the ancient people, with tears in her eyes. Her appearance is very moving, and her voice is so beautiful. There was a resolute voice in it. Zana, wait a minute, At this moment, Xiao Yang's voice suddenly became a little wet and hoarse. This beautiful figure in the prism could be said to be someone who was thinking about him at night. Xiao Yang, hurry up. After a while, another prism was approaching Xiao Yang. In the prism, the enchanting body of Kaylin stood in front of Xiao Yang in the mirror. In front of the two of them were several evil spirits. A dark shadow surrounded by air. The power in them is not necessary for non-territorial evil races, and that kind of situation is probably extremely dangerous. Kaylin. Seeing the second prism approaching, Xiao Yang's voice became hoarse. Xiao Yang, you have to live. After a while, the third prism floated to Xiao Yang's side. At this time, a blue-haired figure stood in the prism, and it was light and pleasant. Her voice came out, but her beautiful eyes were filled with a look of arrogance as if she were at home. She stood on the 100-jong city wall. After speaking, her body turned into a blue ethereal bird, facing the evil abyss beyond the city wall. Down. That kind of scene is like jumping into ***** alone, ing. At this moment, Xiao Yang's mouth and nose were sore, and he couldn't help his pupils blushing. Xiao Yang. The fourth prism also slowly approached. Enough. Before the fourth prism screen appeared, Xiao Yang snorted coldly and roared abruptly. At that time, countless prisms shook slowly. At this moment, above Xiao Yang's outer body, the dim Emperor Yang ring flashed out, a trace of red light surrounding Xiao Yang's body. And that trace of red light, like a rather faint Xiao character, is extremely strange and mysterious. This is. A few minutes later, in the endless prism space, a red door of light emerged gently. Xiao Yang looked at the door of light and couldn't help but muttered, "Come back." Just when Xiao Yang was puzzled, an old voice resounded slowly like a sleeping giant dragon awakening. This voice is by no means the Golden Dragon King, nor is it the powerhouse Xiao Yang knew in the past, but it gave Xiao Yang a special kindness. Want to run? When the door of light and the voice appeared, a sinister and gloomy voice resounded throughout the space, and countless prisms turned into countless wandering ghosts, slaughtering Xiao Yang. With a sound, Xiao Yang did not hesitate, and turned around and stepped into the gate of light. Damn Xiao clan monsters, what treasures actually left Xiao Yang? Wait, the guardian of the Xiao family will be found in a short time, and then... Xu Shao's gloomy voice slowly fell in the different dimension. In the demon world hoo. In the training room, Xiao Yang's soul body had just returned, and he gasped for breath, not noticing the energy released by the Emperor Yan Jie in front of him. This is... After breathing for a while, Xiao Yang's state slowly improved. He knew that if it wasn't for the power of Emperor Yang Jie just now, he might have been left in that other dimension forever. Obviously, this so-called Soul Hall's new Hall Master Huang Tang is much more tyrannical than the previous Soul Wuji, both in terms of strength and scheming. Even the cultivation of its spatial attributes has probably reached a whole new level. After a while, in Xiao Yang's body, Emperor Yang Jie lay quietly, but at this time, Emperor Yang Jie was slowly absorbing the power in Xiao Yang's body. That kind of slight absorption, even Xiao Yang couldn't detect, seemed to have reached the level of strength. After the 7 stars fighting immortals, the resonance of the Emperor Flame Ring became more obvious. Xu Shao, see you next time, all this will be given back to you. Xiao Yang said softly, endless killing intent, sweeping away. As the news of the result of Xiao Yang and Xu Shao's battle came out, it didn't take long for Xu Shao's name of rebellion to come true, so Xiao Yang's first new demon commander became more and more supported by demon beasts. As for Xiao Yang's coma, it disappeared strangely on the second day. Xiao Yang was just like in the past. After visiting the elders of the Horned Demon, he returned to his residence and resumed his day-to-day practice. At this time, the demon world is the country of 10,000 demons. The 10,000 demon nation is under the demon realm. Among the hundreds of countries in the huge demon realm, the demon realm areas with strength enough to rank in the top 10 are far from comparable to other countries in terms of strength and background. Now, with the summoning order of the 10,000 Demon King, the entire Kingdom City is in a state of extreme excitement, not for anything else, but because of the so-called ancient battlefield. The ancient battlefield is not only a battlefield of foreign evil races and many demon world powers, but also has countless heritage relics hidden. What's more, the battle in the ancient battlefield is related to the war in the demon world today. The 10 forces of the demon world are already in full swing, and the final battle is imminent. The armies of the three powerhouses are eyeing their respective territories, and with the addition of the 7 demon kings to help fuel the flames, the current ancient battlefield is already full of war, which is quite like a war that has existed since ancient times. At the same time, the gathering of the entire demon nation's army has also slowly progressed to the last step. Except for Xiao Yan and Tianhu demon commander, the other monsters who entered the army have been ordered by the top management of the 10,000 demon nation of training. In the deep palace compound of the 10,000 demons kingdom, in an elegant palace pavilion, 3 monsters of different shapes quietly appeared here. With a solemn aura, you can tell at a glance that he is a senior in the army, and that kind of strength is far from Xiao Yang's. 4 8-star fighting immortals. 3 of them are the elders and demon commanders in the army, and the first gentle man above, the king of 10,000 demons, Lord Demon King. After Shurenshi, among the 3 demon commanders, a monster with an anticlimactic head and tail spoke softly, and his voice was full of urgency. Master Snake, what is the situation on the front line now? Let's talk to me. It's a battle or a peace. I have my own set. There was a strange wave in the eyes of the 10,000 demon king, and it seemed that he already knew the hot intentions of some snake handsome. Okay. Shi Shuai also knew his hurried personality, and immediately nodded slowly and began to explain. In the ancient battlefield today, the 3 strong men and the 7 demon kings that we are loyal to each have a total of 10 forces, and the entire ancient battlefield has been divided into 10 battle circles. In each battle circle, the respective armies have gathered, then waiting for the scene, appalling. And we are in a situation of being broken everywhere because of the disappearance of Lord Haisha Longlang. Several other demon kingdoms have also sent troops to reinforce the ancient battlefield. RAO is based on the strength of the 8-star fighting immortal at the level of his snake commander. When he said this sentence, the sullenness and solemnity between his eyebrows did not diminish at all. The power of the other 9 masters and the army behind him are enough to make his heart palpitate, not because he is afraid of life and death, but because he is afraid that his homeland will be trampled by other powerhouses. In the ancient battlefield, it seems that it is not just the battle of our demon world. A few days ago, I left the 10,000 demons and went to a rather strange area, and collected a lot of strange aura. Those auras are like human souls, and some are similar to Shu Shao's. He seems to have taken refuge with one of the 7 demon kings, thereby trying to cause a shocking conspiracy in the ancient battlefield. Besides this, there is the demon suppression prison in the ancient battlefield. Those are 2. Speaking of which, there was an air of doubt in the eyes of the 10,000 demon king, and those words kept echoing in his mind. The ghostly soul seems to have some connection between the 2. In the ancient battlefield, there were 2 towns of demons. This was only known to the high-level officials of the demon world. Now that Shu Shao escaped, and the evidence searched from his mansion and other places, the 10,000 demon king was quite surprised. Lord Monster King, now the army has been assembled, but our supreme commander, Lord Haisha Longlang, is missing, and his personal guards have to fight against other powerhouses. Now our situation is extremely bad, it is better to do it earlier. Enter the ancient battlefield to help it clear its siege. Also let me see, who is stronger or weaker. Another hawk-mouthed man snorted coldly and said slowly, I agree too. The 3 demon handsomes said one after the other, looking at the WAN demon king at the same time. How about the top powerhouses in this military election? The demon king nodded and asked Zaidu. Now with our strength, there are a total of 50,000 elite soldiers and strong generals. Among them, there are not a few 7-star fighting immortals, about 20 of them, and 9 strong people are running for demon generals. Other than that, there is only the so-called Tianhu. Yaoshuai and Xiao Yang Yaoshuai are handsome. As for the others, they are also monsters with good combat power. The snake commander nodded and said, obviously, as the head of the 3 elder monster commanders, he is quite tyrannical in terms of combat power and dominance. Xiao Yang, I heard that this guy has dragon scales like me. If you have a chance, you should have a good look at it. After Shun's breath, a monster with brown scales all over his body laughed. Don't worry, there is a chance. At this time, the WN Yaruwang laughed. By the way, now the 10 major battlefields, it seems that Xiao Yang and Tianhu can bring a strange army behind them. The brown-scaled monster muttered as if he had remembered something. Go deep behind enemy lines. At this time, WN Yaruwang, Snake Handsome, and the eagle-mouthed man spoke slightly, as if they had thought of something. Xiao Yang's strength is not bad, and his fighting power is quite amazing. In addition, he and Tianhu Yaoshuai are the newly born Yaoshuai of my WN Yarugua. Other strong people have a lot of air of their power. 4 Jerky. There is no shortage of good ways to go deep behind enemy lines. It's just that I'm worried. If it is discovered by other strong armies, I'm afraid it will send them to death. After a while, the WN Yarawang still expressed his concerns. Lord Demon King, I think you are overthinking it. A guy who can have the pattern of the Underlord is not a simple thing. And now the various situations are quite unfavorable for us. This is an extraordinary army. Whether it is successful or not, it will greatly affect the battle situation. The brown-scaled demon commander said slightly. Organize the army and gather tomorrow. As for this issue, we will discuss it tomorrow. But I believe this guy won't disappoint. As soon as he finished speaking, the WN Yarawang laughed maliciously. Black Dragon Wolf. This video will end here.